Damian Lillard is the best true point guard in the NBA. Let's get into this. Ever since Damian Lillard came into the NBA, you could really just tell that he's a different kind of guy, and he's a real true superstar in the making. Offensively, Damian Lillard is one of the most talented players we have in the league. Lillard is also an extremely hard worker, which got him to the point where he's at now, where he's just an absolute bucket from literally anywhere on the court. Even when Damian Lillard came into the league, he was still an absolute bucket after being drafted 6th overall. In his rookie season, he averaged 19 points per game. When Damian Lillard came into the league, everybody knew he was a great scorer and was going to get even better as time went on. But the thing that people questioned about Damian Lillard was his playmaking and passing ability, and how that would improve over time to become a real true superstar point guard. And when Damian Lillard first came into the NBA in his rookie season, he averaged a pretty decent 6.6 assists per game, which was better than advertised coming out of college. And every single season after his rookie season, he really worked on his playmaking, and he got better slightly each and every season. This season, Damian Lillard is averaging 7.5 assists per game, which is really solid and really good actually for a starting level point guard, especially to the caliber that he's at in terms of his scoring ability as well. But when you just look at the numbers, so when he came in his rookie season all the way back in 2012, he was averaging 6.5 assists per game, and now in 2020, he's only averaging one more at 7.5 assists per game. So you might say he didn't really improve that much, if at all, throughout all those years. My argument to that statement would definitely yeah, obviously in terms of numbers, he didn't improve much over so many seasons, but when you just watch him out there with the eyeball test, you see he's seeing more things than he saw earlier on in his career, and he's getting easier shots for his teammates, and he's also not turning the ball over as much and making dumb mistakes like he used to in his rookie season. And on top of that, obviously Damian Lillard is known for his scoring ability offensively, so his passing ability is more of just a bonus, and the fact that he's averaging 7.5 assists per game is pretty good, and it's just on top of all the brilliance he has offensively in terms of his scoring ability. Now let's get into his shooting ability. Damian Lillard's shooting ability is obviously his best trait out of all the great traits that he owns, and Lillard literally got better and better every single season ever since he got into the NBA. And when you see how good of a shooter that Damian Lillard is now, especially from literally half court, it's pretty scary to watch as a defender. Steph Curry is the main reason why players are shooting from so much farther out now and really working on that and perfecting their craft, because before Steph Curry came around, those type of shots were considered bad shots. But now a lot of players, especially Steph Curry and Damian Lillard, who are at the top of that list, are shooting them pretty efficiently, which makes those shots not bad shots at all anymore. Lillard, when he came into the league, obviously wasn't always shooting from the parking lot. He was just a pretty decent three-point shooter, but the way that Lillard was able to extend his range, especially I would say it really started about 3 years ago, where he really started to pull up from really deep, is pretty incredible. Now you see Damian Lillard literally just walk up the court and pull up from the hash mark and drain them every single time. Literally every single game, Damian Lillard pulls up at least one time from at least the hash mark, sometimes even deeper. But my favorite two examples of this is one when he hit that game winner over Paul George from literally farther than the hash mark in the playoffs. Who does that? To shoot from that far when he had enough time to get closer is absolutely nuts. And the fact that he had that confidence is absolutely crazier. And my other favorite example of Damian Lillard's newfound range is in the bubble against the Brooklyn Nets. That one game, I think it was the last game of the regular season, where Lillard was literally pulling up from half court multiple times, and the Brooklyn Nets were throwing 2-3 guys at him and picking him up beyond half court, which just shows you the shooting ability that this guy really has. And if you watch that Brooklyn Nets game in the bubble, you know he's not only taking it, he's hitting over 50% from the shots that he takes from all the way out there, and these aren't wide open shots either. They're contested by one, maybe two guys sometimes. And when you're that good of a shooter and you have that much range like Damian Lillard does, that really brings the defense out to you, which opens a lot of things up, and he can get easy buckets for his teammates like that as well. So just for the fact that Damian Lillard could potentially hit that consistently from all the way out there, just a threat of that really helps his playmaking ability as well, because he's, as I said before, he's getting literally double teamed from half court. So obviously a teammate's going to be open like that, and they're going to get easy shots like that. Now moving on to his his finishing ability, Damian Lillard is obviously extremely athletic. He dunks on people here and then, not as much as he used to, but he still has the ability to do that, as well as he has definitely very athletic moves where he does finishing at the basket. Everything just really ties in together, so the fact that Lillard is such a great shooter means that the defender has to guard him out so far out, and he obviously is super athletic and very fast off his feet as well. He also has really above average handle, so he could use those abilities to get to the basket pretty easily, and he's also very athletic, as I said, so he can dunk on people and also finish layups around whatever defender that would help out, or he can kick out to one of his wide open teammates for three. Everything ties in and makes Lillard such a great player when you take everything into account. And to top that all off, which is arguably the most important thing that Damian Lillard acquires, is on top of his incredible offensive ability literally everywhere on the court, he's also known for being extremely clutch, where he's probably the most clutch player in the league currently, which is an extremely important thing to have, especially when you're a superstar and trying to win championships. One thing that Damian Lillard does have, although, is he's not a great defender. He's not the worst defender in the world, but he's obviously not a good defender, so that's something he should look to improve on if he could, I guess. Defense is more about effort over really anything else, so I guess just put more effort on the defensive end. But when the game comes down to it, if either in the playoffs or even a regular season when the game's on the line, I'm very confident that Lillard would be able to get a stop on whoever he's guarding. Now obviously Damian Lillard is great and amazing, but to get to the title of this video, you might be thinking, why is this kid making such a clickbait title? Obviously Steph Curry is better than Damian Lillard, and Damian Lillard is not as good as LeBron or Luka, obviously. To that I will say, when I say Lillard is the best point guard in the league, I'm not talking about guys like LeBron and Luka who are not really point guards, but they play the point guard position. They're more of, Luka's more of a small forward shooting guard, LeBron's a small forward. I'm not talking about guys in those when I include that. I'm just saying out of the true point guards. So we're talking Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Damian Lillard obviously, and type of guys like that. I think Damian Lillard is better than Steph Curry or any other point guard in the league. Now I think we could all agree that Damian Lillard, everyone would agree on, is better than every other true point guard in the league besides Steph Curry, but I personally think Damian Lillard is better than Steph Curry for a few reasons. Now when you go point by point offensively, so we'll say shooting, who's a better shooter? Obviously you can't say that anyone's a better shooter than Steph Curry. He's definitely the greatest shooter of all time, but I will say this, I will say Damian Lillard is a lot closer to the skill level of Steph Curry than a lot of people think and give him credit for. Obviously when you watch Steph Curry, you see those incredible buzzer beaters where Curry shoots behind half court, which is absolutely mind-boggling. I'm not sure how many players could do that, but when you watch Dame, he does the same things. He's able to shoot consistently from half court or just inside a half court, which who else could do that? Nobody else besides Steph Curry could do that. Damian Lillard obviously also, I feel like he almost shoots that deep more casually than Steph Curry does, where he just walks up the court and just pulls up. I'm not saying he's a better shooter than Steph Curry, but I'm saying he does it more often and more casually than Steph Curry does it. And when you look at other parts of their game, I would 100% certainty say that Damian Lillard is a better defender than Steph Curry is. Although neither one of them are obviously the bottom of the bottom and atrocious, I would say Damian Lillard is a decent defender, where I would definitely say that Steph Curry is definitely a little bit under that. And when you look at finishing ability around the basket, Steph Curry is 100% for certain a better finisher in terms of the layups that he's able to create in those interesting angles that he's able to make his shots pretty efficiently. But you have to take into account that Damian Lillard is obviously more athletic than Steph Curry is, so he does also have those pretty crazy layup packages, we'll say. But on top of that, Damian Lillard has the ability to dunk on people, which brings his percentage up a little bit as well. So if you're saying who has a better layup percentage around the basket and who finishes at a higher percentage in terms of their layup, obviously Steph Curry wins that argument. But if you add into the fact that who's the better finisher in general, including dunks and everything, I think it's a lot closer than people think as well. So now you go point by point. Shooting, obviously Steph Curry's a better shooter. I can't realistically say that Lillard's a better shooter, but what I will say is it is very close and a lot closer than people think. And now finishing ability, I will say I would give the slight edge to Steph Curry, but also I think it's a lot closer than people think. Defensively, definitely I'd say Damian Lillard is a better defender than Stephen Curry, but to give Curry some credit, it is slightly close because it's not like Lillard is a great defender. But really, the part where I think that really separates Damian Lillard from Steph Curry is the fact that Damian Lillard has a clutch sheen, and he doesn't only have that, he's obviously probably the clutchest player in the NBA, where on the other hand, Steph Curry is actually kind of known for being not clutch, to be honest with you, because when you look at his playoff performances, he's always worse than he was before that. So Steph Curry would have a great regular season where he would win MVP, and then when it comes to the playoffs, he's still pretty good, but he's way worse than he was during the regular season, which isn't the greatest thing, especially when you're trying to win championships and play at the highest level. Now moving on to other things about their game, when you go to their actual accolades, obviously there's no question Steph Curry is better. He's obviously a 2-time MVP, he has way more championships. Well, Damian Lillard doesn't have any championship, but I think the reason for that is the fact that Damian Lillard is extremely loyal, probably the most loyal player in the NBA, where he's probably never going to leave the Portland Trailblazers, and I think that's great. I really admire him for his loyalty, but I think in terms of personal accolades for him and team accolades in terms of championships, that's really hurting him. Now, I would make the argument that if Steph Curry and Damian Lillard switch spots, that Damian Lillard would arguably have more championships than Steph Curry does, and maybe even more MVP trophies than Steph Curry does. I'm more confident in saying more championships and more MVPs, just due to the fact that, as I said earlier, Steph Curry is known to not be as good as he is during the regular season in the playoffs, especially in the finals, whereas Damian Lillard, contrast to that, is known for being great when it comes down to that moment and you need to hit that shot. Now, obviously it's not apples to apples and it's really hard to compare the two, but I will say if Damian Lillard was on that Warriors team that blew that 3-1 lead, I don't think they would have lost that series if Lillard was there, because obviously Curry didn't have the best finals that year, where he famously had the behind the back pass to Klay Thompson when they turned it over in the clutch, where if that didn't happen, they could have potentially won that game. And I guarantee Damian Lillard wouldn't do anything like that, and he would actually excel and play better than he usually does when it comes down to it and hit game winners and big shots. Now, obviously it's very easy for me to say that, and maybe if Damian Lillard was in that position, he would be the same as Steph Curry, or maybe even worse. You don't really know until you get there, but I will say that evidence would suggest that Damian Lillard would be extremely clutch and wouldn't blow that 3-1 lead, in my opinion at least. But overall, the reason why I think Damian Lillard is the best point guard in the NBA, and better specifically than Steph Curry, is due to the fact that obviously skill-wise they're very similar, and I will give Damian Lillard a lot of credit. I will say he's very close to Steph Curry in terms of shooting, more than people give him credit for, as well as his finishing ability, where obviously he's better on the defensive end in my opinion. But where I think he really separates himself from Steph Curry is the fact that he's such a clutch player in this league, and Steph Curry on the other hand is actually not really clutch that much, or maybe even whatsoever, you might say. I don't know, maybe I'm just hating at that point, but I think the fact that Lillard is such a clutch player really separates him from the two, and in my opinion I really carry that with a lot of weight, and that's the reason why I think that Damian Lillard is better than Steph Curry and the best point guard in the league, true point guard. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Damian Lillard is the best point guard in the league, or do you think Steph Curry, or maybe even somebody else, maybe Chris Paul, I don't know, you think is better than both of them and they're the best point guard in the league? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. Until the next time, peace out guys.